I've seen.
Maureen, can you come help me?
Yeah. So what you're going to have to do is do a Google search to find that page. I think that the fact that we have the job search services supports this campsite being able to be open. So the rent for job search services pays the rent for the campsite. There's 2 of us employed here, and we kind of oversee the campsite as volunteers. And without us being here, an actual group of volunteers would have to run the campsite.
I usually access it from the Sheet Harbor webpage.
Okay, but I think we can find it. We partner with the library as well. Okay. We get our signal from the library, and we also are able to use their programming room, and we run workshops and things. So there's a lot of partnerships going on with how the services in this campsite are delivered to the community. The library, they have computers as well. Their hours are less, and they're often open in the evenings. So we're Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. Certainly for the younger people in the community, they flood in here at 3 o'clock, closes at 4. If we had volunteers who could continue the hours, then a lot of other things could happen. And then you could sort of start hooking into sort of advanced ideas about social media networking and, digital photography and online video editing and all this kind of stuff that, a lot of younger people are interested in. My experience with campsites over the years, when it first started out, it was very much, I need to go to the campsite to type my cover letter. It's very much, using the word programs. Now, the majority, especially of young people that come in, and actually everybody really, they're using it for Facebook and MSN chatting. It's much more about connecting with people, the social media angle of things. And because of that, I was putting off joining Facebook myself for years, but I broke down and I joined as well. So earlier when you guys were out shooting, I asked you to be my friend on Facebook.
Well, I certainly will do. Thank you.
I think that if other campsites were able to develop the kind of partnerships that we've been able to develop here between JSS and CAP, it's going to give them more resources, human and financial, to obviously be able to stay open, but also to grow and deliver more services to their communities.
Imagine if all the campsites had strong partner organisations that would sustain them, and a good balance of paid staff and volunteers. On the way home, I wanted to stop by a campsite in Jadur that I remembered, called Centre by the Sea. I knew it was probably too late to find anyone there, but I thought I might get a sense of whether it was still open or not. Centre by the Sea was a small campsite run by a group of volunteers in an old school. Of the 72 campsites that existed in HRM in 2003, almost half have since closed, mostly due to volunteer burnout. It was interesting to see how the Sheet Harbor campsite was sustained through the Job Search Services project and its partnership with the library. Now we're heading to a library campsite with a different partnership model.
The Tantallon Library is part of the St. Margaret's Bay area, which is a growing suburban community. A lot of young families here, a lot of commuters. My name's Elaine Murray, and I'm the branch manager, and I'm also the vice chair of the Hubbards Tantallon CAP board. So there are 4 different sites that the board oversees. So the J.D. Shatford Public Library is another part of the CAP site, so that's in Hubbards. The Aspestoggin Heritage Trust Centre has 2 computers in there, and that's in Hubbards. And then the 4th site is down in Blandford. That's been a kind of an adventure for us at the Deck, which is a convenience store and a little restaurant. So having the Tantallon Library and the Hubbards Library as part of our board really provides us with a stability that we wouldn't have without them, as well as the in-kind contribution that they give us for technical support and staff who help people on the computers whenever the library is open. So I think that that is one of the real benefits of our particular CAP board is we have this, small sites and large sites all clumped together under one board. The next step then is to get that printer And what about high-speed internet? I understand that Eastlink is now down there. Is that
Well,
right?
yes and no.
Okay.
It seems to depend on who you are and where you are. It's very spotty. You know, and I turn on the news and hear that, it's available everywhere.
Yeah.
And
not so.
And it's not so.
No.
Very frustrating.
Yeah.
Now, around the world, a global digital divide is taking shape.
We've seen experts, we've seen blogs refer to Canada as the digital third world.
If we don't get our act together in Canada, we are being left behind right now in terms of the bandwidth that people are going to need in order to be able to participate. If you have dial-up right now, and many people still do, you can't listen to internet radio. You can't participate in many, many ways. And what is unfortunate is that you are constantly bombarded with suggestions that this is the way you should participate. Go to our website.
Even though it might be available all the way down the peninsula eventually, that's not to say that everybody's going to buy it.
No, of course not.
No.
Okay. I'm Sally Lanchel. I'm the chair of the Hubbardston Talent Cap Board, and now I'm off to check out laser printers.
I did an analysis of our usage last year, and we had over 23,000 computer usages within our Hubbardston Talent Cap site. A good chunk of them were here at Tantallon because we've got so many computers here. But one of the stats that really blew me away was the deck, where we have one computer, and yet last year, 2009, we had over 3,000 uses on that one computer. And for me, all of those uses demonstrate that these are resumes that wouldn't have been written, they are emails that wouldn't have been sent, they are searches on the internet that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have those public use computers.
My name is Azor. I live just down the road here at Lewis Lake. I retired in 1991. This was a wonderful place that filled a hole in my time. I have a computer at home, but I don't have internet. And I don't want internet at home because I'd waste all my time on the computer. I wouldn't get anything done. So I come here and do my email. Strangely, I can't imagine what my life would have been without the computer. And it allows me to be in touch with so many friends and do so many things that I could never have done before. It's like a friend to me.
I know that the cost of technology is coming down, that it doesn't cost so much to buy a computer now, but it still costs money to have monthly hookup to the high-speed internet, and there are a lot of people that just can't afford that. And given that a lot of government documents are only available online, we have to provide places for people to have access to computers. And if they don't have them in their homes, they need a place to come.
As CapSites struggled to provide access to everyone, creating innovative partnerships and relying on committed volunteers to stay open, the Canadian government decided, while we were filming this video, to drastically cut CAP funding across the country, and then to reinstate it again, all in the same day.
Here is the CBC News for Nova Scotia. Good evening. I'm Ryan Pierce. This morning, people who operate CAP sites across Nova Scotia were getting ready to close them. Industry Canada had given notice that it would no longer fund sites within 25 kilometres of a library. Then this afternoon, Industry Minister Tony Clement told reporters the whole thing was a misunderstanding.
Wow.
And he now says all CAP sites that offer free computer and internet access will be fully funded for the upcoming year.
Did you hear that?
The Waterman-Cook Band Council says it's cautiously optimistic about it.
I guess fully funded means the paltry $2,500 each site gets every year. If the cuts had been made, the library sites and the smaller sites they support would have lost all of their funding, as would 38 of the 40 sites in HRM, including this CAP site, which is still open, but not exactly open for business today.
I'm Sharon Dykeman, and you are at the CAP site in Lake Echo at the Lake Echo Lions Community Center. I'm not doing too good this morning. More problems. What you're supposed to do when you first come into a cab is turn on all of the computers, and it makes it more pleasing for when people come in. So when I did that this morning, I would have it ready. I found only one computer was up and operating properly. So I was a little amazed when Linda walked in this morning to use the computers, and I suggested that she sit down at the one that she's at right now and turn it on. She had no access to internet. It tells me it cannot find the server. Is the server that new piece of equipment we installed? In the late 90s, there were a group of women who formed a community board because they felt that there was a need for computer access here in the community. We live in an area where there's a lot of transients, and there's also some low-income people here. So they opened it up so that they could be able to use it. And I became involved in the early 2000s and have been here ever since. I worked with the CAP people, and then I became a volunteer with them. So over the years, it's had many ups and downs, and at one time we received enough funding in order to maintain the room here and equipment, and we had people for technical support and so on. But I found over the last few years our funding has dropped, and we are now in a position where I can't pay rent here. So we do like in-kind services. I offer internet service to the building, and that helps defray the cost of rent.
Hey, Sharon.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad.
Am I glad to see you?
I can probably see why.
Uh-huh.
We're not all the same color today.
No, we're not.
We're feeling a little blue.
I came in this morning, and this came up telling me I was in Word 2000, that was XP, and this is our normal. I can't get an internet, and I'm really frustrated. It's the only screen that came up.
My name is Dan Robichaud, and I am the Executive Director of the Halifax Regional CAP Association, and I've been fighting the digital divide for 4 years.
I don't know if this has anything to do with the new program that we installed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did. In Lake Echo, we've installed a server, which has allowed us to give 5 years more life to the already 10-year-old computers. The operating system is not on the computers at all. It's actually on a server, which is, in this case, located in Lake Echo. We wanted to revitalize CAP in that area, and we thought that bringing new technology and a very strong open source initiative in Lake Echo was just good timing. So what happens if you restart this?
I restarted one of the computers because...
Certainly it's not limited to Lake Echo. Right now we're still piloting the project in Lake Echo. We are still using old computers as terminals, and the second phase, like I said, will be to use low energy terminals, which are very, very small in size. At only 1 watt of electrical consumption, it's the greenest one that we could find.
While these larger initiatives are being developed, most of the sites are more concerned with being able to keep their doors open and their computers in working order.
On the plus side, here in the center, we have a senior citizen group that meets periodically. And at our last meeting, we had the IT Works group come in to explain to the seniors about a program they were opening here in our CAP site. And it included like GED programs or women trying to get back into the working force, that they would offer free computer training, free GED programs. Just like our funding.
IT Works for Women is a program facilitated by a society promoting women's economic equality. This popular program has used many CAP sites in HRM to train over 1,000 women in the use of information technology. Access to computers and the internet is definitely not just a rural issue. In the urban areas, there are more than 20 CAP sites. 5 of them are within blocks of each other in the north end of Halifax.